Hey y'all, this is Bob. I used to be one of the first members of the OUG Gaming team. I used to write reviews, edit them, and share stories on general gaming news between 2013 and 2015. And that's why I was super excited when David asked me to be part of the 400th episode of the podcast. Look at how far we've come. I can't wait for what's next for OUG Gaming. And hey, I'll always be a part of the team. Take care, y'all.
So we're back after that quick break. It's still One Up Gaming. It's still me, David. It's episode 400, and I found I would like to say one of our original team members.
I'd say founding member. Yeah, I'd be founding member. I was around in the beginning.
I can't even remember when. I'd have to go back to the old podcasts to see when people came onto the show.
I think I came around the first couple episodes. I think around like episode 20-ish. I think I could be very off with that number, but I think it was around 2030s when like 20 episode 20, episode 30, between there is when I first came on.
Because I know I did the first, I think 4 or 5 on my own. And then I think Nathan was like one of the first that was on with me. Was it
Yeah,
Nathan?
I think so. I think that was one of the first ones, yeah. Damn. That was a long time ago.
Yeah,
That
it's
was a really long
stupid.
time ago.
2012, I think.
Oh, Jesus.
And like I say, I mean, I don't know about you. There's only been a few people that I remember the names of. I don't know if that's how bad my memory is,
I
but it's
mean,
like there was you, there was Nathan, there was Matt,
yeah.
there was Evie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I can't remember what her sister was called.
yeah. I don't remember either. I
Was it
I
Mel?
remember,
Mel?
I think so, maybe.
Yeah,
To be completely clear, I don't remember either of them. I remember
yeah,
Matt. I remember Matt.
yeah.
Um,
I remember was it there was a Ryan from America, I think.
yes. Yes, yes, yes. I remember him. That was a while ago. That was a really long time ago.
Yeah, we started off doing a second podcast doing an F1 show, but unfortunately, we only did like 2 episodes, then it just stopped. So, my good friend,
Yes.
after your review on our website, which I don't even know if it actually went up or not, the one that you just said was absolutely crap and all the people involved should have been killed.
Oh, some of my best work. Some of my best work. Some of my best writing work. Look. I will say this, and it sounds harsh, but the game was fucking bad. It was really bad. I know everything that goes into making a game, right? I get it. I get it's difficult. I get it's time consuming. But Jesus fucking Christ, when I get stuck in a rock in the first 2 minutes, it's not a game. It's barely a slideshow. It's fucking terrible. Um, yeah, no, that was the worst thing I've ever played to this day, and I stick by that. I stick by that
Good.
completely. But speaking of game,
Yeah,
um, the industry has changed. The industry has changed since we first started this.
yeah,
Like, what, back in 2012, no one could have imagined anything like Game Pass. We kind of had like GeForce Now. That was a thing back then, which was fucking wow. That was fucking awful. But I think it's better now. It was fucking
there was
awful.
I think there was called On Live. I think that was
Oh my
2014,
God.
2015.
Sweet
But
Jesus. Yeah.
I think with that one, you paid for the service and then you also had to pay for the games.
Yeah, that was a bad. I don't understand how that worked, but that was a bad idea.
I got sent
Um,
a I got sent a code so I could use it for a year,
jeez.
and like all the games were included, so whatever was on their service I could play.
Oh, that's
But
lucky.
like all internet-based streaming services back then, it was nigh on unplayable. It was an absolute
Yeah,
disgrace.
you couldn't get the speeds that you could get now.
Yeah,
But it's like the industry's changed so much. Back in the day, we used to think, well, like, and I'm gonna talk about the Xbox thing. I don't know if you've already spoken about it on the show or not.
I don't really do that
Um,
much news anymore. I just do a little bit of talking to the camera and a little bit of the games being played, and that's about it.
I will say this. Um, it's a scary time to be a developer. It is a scary time to be in the industry as a whole
Yeah,
on any level because you're not safe. There is no job security, not really, because you have Xbox closing 4 studios that they bought. They bought
yeah.
and were like, yeah, we're gonna stick by these studios. So, and immediately, and then like, fucking, I think what, a year, 2 years later, shut them down. I'm like, god damn. And then fucking, what was it? I forgot the game. Oh right, Ubisoft brought out a bunch of games. They were like, we're working on all this different stuff. And then I think it was today or yesterday they spoke about. No, it was today. They closed production. They stopped production on one of their free to play games that they were working on for like 4-ish years, and they just shut production down on that out of fucking nowhere.
To be fair though, I think some of these games would have been better off shut down and not being released to the general public.
Oh, there are a lot of games I can say that. There's a lot of games I can say that about.
Because I remember back in the day when Half-Life, the original
Mm,
Half-Life, was going to be coming out on the Sega Dreamcast.
yeah.
And the game was fully finished, fully done. All the gold copies went out to reviewers. Everyone started reviewing the game, and then all of a sudden they just cancelled it. And they basically said in America, if you make a game and don't release it, you get all the tax back that you've worked on for those 2, 3, 4 years. And they said that they would make more money getting the tax back by not releasing the game than actually releasing the game.
Do you think that's what's happening now?
I think what's happening now, I'd love to see numbers, but I think because of COVID, all the studios went like mobile. So they all went like in their own homes, working from home. And to do that, you need 2 to 3 extra people per team to actually make the numbers up to keep it going. Whereas if you're in an office, it's a lot easier to see what's happening and what's going on and keep on top of all the progress. So I just think that they must have upped the manpower to keep games coming. And now that they're all going back to the offices, they're all like, we've got like 50 people too many per team, but I mean, I might be wrong, but I would love to see what the hiring numbers were a couple of years ago to see what they are now and what they were 2 years before COVID to see if there is
Yeah,
a correlation to that.
I feel like with COVID, I feel like a lot of especially games, got very overconfident during COVID because people were stuck inside. They didn't have much to do. Everyone
Yeah,
played games. Everyone bought consoles. Everyone bought games because they didn't have anything else to do. A lot of people didn't, and they saw that uptick and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna make this last for as long as physically possible." And they got overconfident with those numbers and they want those numbers. They don't want any other numbers. They want those
yeah,
numbers. That's not a thing that's going to happen. What's going to happen is those numbers aren't going to get reached again. You're not going to reach the same amount. You're not going to have the same amount of people playing concurrently. You're not going to have the same amount of people like invested in games around like all at once. It's not going to happen. I feel like that's a hard truth that needs to be told. and I feel like especially Microsoft spread themselves way too thin. They bought Bethesda, which I'm still scratching my head about, to be completely honest. I understand why, kind of, not really, but kind of. I get why you would want to buy Bethesda, but it feels like you don't have the financial stability to keep it running.
Oh, they
Because
do. They're the richest company in the world.
yeah, Microsoft is like, let's be
Yeah.
completely honest. Xbox is the unwanted child of Microsoft. They're the weird kid. They're the one that like everyone else is doing, like, operating software, laptops, PCs, and then Xbox is over here being like, I made a box. As much as like Microsoft wants them to succeed, they can't keep funneling money in. They just can't. It's not something that companies do,
But
right?
if you look at it from the other way, they've bought Bethesda, and Bethesda have the Elder Scrolls Online and Fallout 76, both games completed and done, and they're just bringing in like millions and millions of dollars every month by active players playing those games.
Yeah, but they're not bringing in enough because you
Or
have to remember.
I think they are those two
No, because you have
games.
to remember they spent money. Like Microsoft's problem is they spend more money acquiring things than they do getting back. Right? So they spent money
Microsoft's
on Bethesda,
problem is
and they were
they,
hoping for, like, remember Starfield when Starfield
yeah,
came out. Everyone thought that was going to be the game. That was going to be a thing that brought everyone to Xbox. Game Pass sales were going to go through the roof. And then Starfield was kind of meh. It's a good game. Don't get me wrong. I love flying and shit. It's great. But there's not much else to do. You finish the game once, you can finish it maybe twice, two more times, and then you're kind of bored and it's over. And that takes you about, if you're not trying to do everything at once, it's going to take you about 60 hours. And then after that, 60, 70 hours. And then after that, you're done. Like, that's it. Like, you're finished. The game's done. And they can keep adding stuff and adding new things. And yeah, maybe the game will become something that people can keep playing forever. But I don't see that happening. I really don't. And Xbox put a lot of eggs in that basket, bought studios and um and development teams and everything else with the understanding that, hey, this is gonna be a game that will be not just a flagship, but something to carry us over. And it's gonna carry over other games. It's gonna allow us to put production onto other games, and those games are gonna be successful. But I don't think it's about success anymore. I think it's about money. It's about the amount of money they can bring in to cover the losses that they have gained from not selling enough consoles, from losing Game Pass subscribers, to even just like not having enough games on Game Pass that people actually want to play. Because they bought Activision, and Activision cost a lot of money, but the only the only game that they brought onto Game Pass that people actually want to play from Activision is Diablo 4. And that's like, yeah, granted, Diablo 4 is Diablo 4, but that ain't gonna carry your entire investment. And sure, you can bring COD on, but COD makes more money in sales, so it doesn't really need to be on Game Pass. They could put the previous CODs onto Game Pass, and sure, people would love that.
I think
CODs for
COD
360, all that.
will
Put it
be
on.
on Game Pass day one
I hope
because
it does. I hope they don't. I hope they don't, because they're going to
they
lose so
will
much money.
basically say you can buy this game for $70 on PC or PlayStation 5, or you can get an Xbox and pay the monthly subscription and you don't, you're basically getting like the game included with the subscription. So Microsoft paid all this money for all these developers for one simple reason. They were seeing that the Xbox console and brand wasn't going up. They were struggling like crazy. So the Xbox division went to Microsoft and said, we need to do something crazy to try and get the uptake of consoles. So they bought Bethesda, and they couldn't say that all the games were going to be Xbox exclusive. They could say that, oh yeah, at the moment we're looking at an exclusivity, this, that, the other, but they couldn't confidently say that these games are going to be Xbox exclusive forever. For the simple reason, Microsoft, the company as a whole, will be watching the graphs of consoles sold, money coming in, Game Pass subscriptions, and if that didn't hit a certain number by a couple of months ago, then Microsoft would be like, right, this isn't working. You've absolutely spunked a lot of money on stuff and it hasn't helped at all. We now need to get these games that are already finished and done, getting ported over to the PlayStation, getting ported over to the Switch, because we physically can't sell the games because we don't have enough Xboxes out to buy, for people to buy the games. So, but their first thoughts were, we will buy these big name publishers, get them under the Xbox brand, and very vaguely say, oh yeah, the games will be exclusive to Xbox. So you had to buy the Xbox to get the games. But because they haven't had any big games in 2 years, no one's bought an Xbox, and it's got to the point of it's too late. The Xbox brand or the Xbox Series X has just gone, that no one cares. So the uppers are like, right, we don't care where people play the games. We just want the money coming in. Get these games out to as many people as you can.
My whole thing is, my whole thing is this, right? When it comes to building the Xbox brand, I feel like they've done a really shitty job.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say why. And it is very true. They need to stop buying studios. It is a fact. Stop buying shit. Stop buying shit. Start working with people. Start making more exclusives, more like working together with indie devs and medium-sized dev teams, because the problem that they're running into is that they have all of these studios, but no games are coming out fast enough. And then they're gonna say, well, we need smaller indie games. We need small games that take less time to make, but are still like bringing people in. You're looking for a Goldilocks effect when you shouldn't be. You crafted the circumstances in which you find yourself. None of this should be happening. You made this a thing because you kept buying shit up without thinking. Like imagine someone who's just not good with money, right? You just give them a lot of money and they just splurge. They just start buying shit. They don't think about what they're buying. They just buy shit. And they wonder why they have no money left. They wonder why they've run out of money in a month. Because you're not thinking about what you're buying. You're just buying shit. You bought Activision, that's wonderful. And Activision comes out with a yearly game like clockwork. Great. Means fuck all if you can't actually monetize it properly. And that's the issue I saw with Bethesda. Bethesda's games come out fucking slowly. They come out once every 5, 4, 6 years. Like before Starfield, what was Bethesda's last game? Because I don't remember it. I think it was
Fallout 4.
Fallout 4.
Well, I guess Fallout 76 was like newer, but the main single player game, yeah, Fallout 4. And then before that was like Fallout 3.
Fallout 4 came out when?
Oh God, 2018?
It took them, doing some generous maths here, yeah, 4 years. 4 to 5 years to bring out Starfield.
2015 it came out.
Fucking hell, that's even worse. That's even worse. There's so much worse. That's 7 to 8 years, right? 7 to 8 years. I'll give them 7 to 8
They
years.
got the Fallout 76 in between them as well.
Yeah. But let's be 100%. When Fallout 76 first came out, it was shit. People can put rose, like, people can, like, look at it all rosy now. But when it came out, it was shit. So it took them 7 to 8 years to bring out a game. That is not a studio you can hang your hat on and say they're gonna bring in money. That doesn't make sense. You can't wait that long for a fucking game. Especially when you're a studio or when you're a publisher that is, let's be fair, probably in the red.
I mean, the other problem is they probably also bought Bethesda maybe 10 years too late.
Oh yeah.
Because
They
for
should have bought
me,
Ubisoft. Ubisoft was
it
going out of
was
business.
Skyrim and Fallout 3 were massively AAA sort of games. And I think everything else that's come out after those games, they might have been good, but they've gone from 10s to like a 7. So now the games coming out after Microsoft's bought them, like Starfield, it might still be like a 7 out of 10, but people's expectations are still like 5-6 years earlier when, Skyrim that was coming out, when they're like, everything they do is gold. But I just think that a lot of developers over the last 5 years, unless they've put like $300 million into the game, are a bit of a disappointment.
You know what it is? I heard this. I heard someone say this before, like a couple days ago. AA games are where actual innovation and like good games are coming out. I'm not saying AAA games aren't good. I'm not saying that all. Those developers put in time, work, and those games come out. They're not given enough time. I will
The
say that
problem
now.
is they don't
AAA
sell.
developers. No, but that's the thing. AAA developers aren't given enough time and freedom to actually develop those games into what they should be. I will say that now, right? Because you had the same. We had like there was a discussion before. I think it was like a year ago about creative decisions being made within Ubisoft and how the creative director would basically be the person, the creative director and game director would be the people who basically just made all the decisions, right? And developers themselves had very little leeway and very little like influence on how the game would come out, what features there would be, that type of thing. It would all be on the top level, and the people actually like the developers themselves would have very little say in how things were made. And I think that's more industry wide than we want to actually say. Because the way I look at it is like this: if you're going to step in and buy these studios, especially Activision, especially something like Blizzard, if you're going to step in and buy these studios, at least, for the love of fucking God, restructure. Make it in some way more efficient to the game plan that you have ahead. I'm not saying take full control. I ain't saying now, ooh. I am saying have some game plan in mind other than let's see what they make. Because that's not a plan, that's waiting. And you're not sitting in a queue waiting at a chippy. You are making games that are supposed to be selling for millions. So don't wait for shit to happen. Make some shit happen. A lot of these AAA studios, put them on AA games. They have the resources to make AAA games. Put them on some AA games. Put them on some passion projects. I guarantee you the games that they spit out will be amazing. Tango Gameworks, the studio that was shut down that made Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush is one of the most highly acclaimed games of last year.
But over the last year, they've lost all their leadership. So I think it got to the point of it's like the main guy, the guy who did all the Resident Evil stuff, he quit like a year ago, and there was like 3 or 4 other high up execs that have all left. So I just think that yes, it's shit. Yes, they've made some bloody good games, but I do think that the way Xbox games is at the minute, they're like, well, this studio's lost all of its development talent, all of its thinking, and its where it's going. by the time we hire new people in and start a new project, it's another 3, 4, 5 years. So we might as well just cut them off now and just save the money.
Yeah, but instead of doing that, they could have integrated them into another studio.
Yeah, but they don't have any of the studios in Japan.
But that's my whole point. That is my whole point. Like,
But in
that's
Japan,
exactly what I'm saying.
Sony, which has come to light, have deals in place that don't allow certain games to go onto the Xbox, don't allow developers to work on the Xbox because of how
No, I
good
understand
Sony's doing over there.
I understand that. Like, Sony has a stranglehold on like the Eastern market. I understand that completely. But this is what I'm saying. Microsoft can't be closing studios in markets in which they don't have a foothold in when they're in the position that they're in. This is when you integrate, regardless of the difficulty that would come from it. It's not like they don't have the resources to do it. They can do it. They can integrate people from that studio or people into that studio. They can do that because they have the resources to do that. To act like they don't is crazy. Because again, this is Microsoft we're talking about. This isn't some other like low-level publisher or like fucking the Roku. This is fucking Microsoft. They have the resources. They're just not using them. You bought fucking Activision. All of Activision's resources are at your fingertips. Use them. You have Raven Software. You have fucking Sledgehammer Games. You have all of these amazing developers. You have all of these amazing teams. Use them. Shit, Bethesda ain't doing shit. Use them.
And it's like, I know a lot of people were pissed off about the Arcane Austin getting closed. But when you think about it, I believe what's happened with them is that Microsoft or Bethesda, like, because I think their game was like in development, Redfall, before the Microsoft bought them. I think that their team completely got changed because they were going more for a always online like game, not a single player sort of focused game. So I think that a lot of the developers and a lot of the skilled people working on that team got moved somewhere else to do single player stuff. And then this Arcane Austin, a lot of the multiplayer focused developers got moved into that team to get Redfall up and running. And I just think that now Redfall's come out, it's been a disaster. Again, Microsoft just looked at it and like, this team is full of people just for multiplayer online games. And we don't need that. We don't want that. And all the single player developers had already been moved over to other teams. So they're just like, right, we just close it, get rid of it. We don't need it.
This is the thing with Microsoft. I feel like Microsoft doesn't have, because this is why I'm going to disagree with you a bit, all right? Whether they moved people from team to team or not, you put the mandate, you're in charge. So if Redfall was in development before you bought Bethesda and you saw it was a multiplayer game and you're like, you know what, Arcane Austin isn't known for multiplayer games. Why don't we try and shift this into a more co-op single player type of experience without a lot of the online things, without a lot of the live service?
I think it was
Why don't we do
already
that
2,
instead?
3 years in development before they got
But,
bought.
but this is what I'm saying. It's not like they don't have the resource. Again, this is what I'm saying. This is Xbox. It's not like they don't have the resources to do that. It's not like they don't have the resources to say, hey, Redfall's coming out and it's going to be co-op and single player. We're switching it from live service. Because they can do that. They can speak to gamers and be like, you know what? We know that you don't want more live service games. You have enough games telling you, hey, log in every day. You have enough of that. Here's a co-op single player experience. They didn't do that. They said, live service ain't dead yet, and you still have money in your wallet. Give it to me. They didn't care about the impact it would have. They didn't care about the. I don't know if they cared about the quality or not. I'm not gonna speak on shit I don't know. But what I do know is the quality that that game came out with isn't what Arcane Austin is capable of doing. They are capable of so much more, and the
Yeah.
reason it came out the way it did, my belief is that there was more of a mandate to commercialize than there was to actually make a game people want to play. And that's been the mandate for a lot of live service games. It's been sell shit.
I think it's get it to a certain standard and get it out so we can start making money from it.
That's what I'm saying. Because think of it like this, right? A lot of publishers, they want games that they can continuously make money from. It's the same reason we have fucking Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad is a good game. Like it is. Like the mechanics of that game are fucking nice. Like genuinely, it is a fun game to play. Movement mechanics, shooting, it is actually fun. The powers are fun to use. The game it's in, fuck me, it's awful. The game it's in is fucking garbage. It's so bad. It
But
is
it's like
so
the
bad.
game that came out, was it last year, the year before, is it the team, the Titans, whatever it was called?
Did it?
The one that came out a couple of years ago where you don't control Batman, you control like
Oh
Robin
yeah,
and
yeah.
Nightwing. I actually
That's
really
Gotham Knights.
enjoyed that
Gotham Knights.
game. I really enjoyed
That's my whole
that.
point. That is my whole point, right? These type of games, like the games in which you don't have that aren't live service, do so well. Do so well because people don't want to constantly be told, "Hey, buy thing." People don't want that, and it's like these. It's like publishers haven't caught up with the rest of the general gaming community or just public in general, because a lot of the games that even casual players, like the laymen out there, are playing aren't really live service. They're games in which you're not incentivized to buy anything. You can just kind of log on, play, and then fuck off if you want to. But with Microsoft now, I don't see that happening because they're going into damage control. They're not trying to like make these studios thrive. They're going into damage control. They're trying to get out of the red as much as physically possible so they can start releasing more shit so that they can get back into the green. When that when that will happen, I have no idea. But the last thing,
I think it's quite far gone for the Xbox Series X and S. I honestly think that the Microsoft team said that we'll let you buy these studios, we'll give you 2 years, and if it hasn't reached a certain point, which it hasn't reached, it's then right, release all these games on PlayStation, and instead of being 4 years' time, in 2 years' time, we'll release the next Xbox to get a head
you know,
start over Sony.
you know what it is as well. There's something else on top of that. My theory, and this is just me. I don't know if anyone agrees with me on this. The S should have been a handheld. The S should have been a handheld. It should have been Xbox's version of the Steam Deck. That's what I believe.
But it's like that's what the rumor is at the minute, that's the next sort of like
No,
console that they're going to
have.
release.
That's what they should have brought out as either a companion or just something
I
else
I
with the
don't
X
think
Series X.
4 years ago, I don't think they could have had a handheld device powerful enough to play the Xbox sort of games.
I mean, when did the Steam Deck first come out?
That's only been out a couple of years.
Fair enough. I'll give them that.
And
But
you got to remember, if something
yeah,
did come out, Xbox wanted that $250, $300 price point. Whereas if you're having like a Steam Deck 4.5, 5 years ago, that'd have been about 800 quid.
that's fair too.
Whereas now they could
I
probably
still
get
think,
like the Xbox sort of standard
mm,
out there for like $350, maybe $400.
I still think that the handheld would have been a good idea, and the reason I say that is this: they could have brought it out, made it like a super powerful version of a PSP, of a PSVR, like a even stronger version of a PSVR, and then be like, oh, 3, 4 years later, boom, refresh, new one, complete new shit in it, more powerful, better battery life, da 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 da. They could have done it, and then 2 years after that, new refresh, new screen, new battery. Buy it if you want to. Next, boom, and you can keep going. And that would have been the Game Pass machine. Why? Because there is no reason for it not to be. Because this is the thing that I'm seeing, and this is the thing that I'm noticing a lot. More middle of the road games like AA games are coming out on Steam and PC than on console. Because they see it as, okay, people have all of these different machines, from the Steam Deck to the ROG Ally to the Legion Go. They have all of these different machines, right? But they're all still using Steam. So we have a much bigger audience now. We have a much bigger like population of players to advertise to and who might want to play our game. So all we really have to do is make it compatible with the Steam Deck, and it's going to be compatible with the rest of them. We might need to make some changes here and there, but it's not going to be that much of a difference. Then what? They corner that market. Steam has the PC down, handhelds down. Xbox is left with what? They don't have PC. PC Game Pass is fine. It is good. I ain't gonna say it's not. But is it good enough for people not to use Steam? Hell no. And Game Pass on console. Again, I love it. It don't change the fact that it don't take anyone away from PlayStation or PC. And that's my whole point. As wonderful as this all sounds, right? Hypothetically, being like, oh, well, they didn't have the resources to do it. Long-term thinking, they should have done it anyway. You're making a streaming service, a game streaming service. Handheld. Easy. First thought you have. Why? Because even if it's not fucking amazing, you can refresh that bit in 4 or 5 years and be like, new and improved. And people will buy it. Because there'll be new games out. There'll be reasons for developers to be like, you know what? I actually want to make it on that because it'll be easier for people to play. It'll be easier for people to consume. People can let their kids play. Other people, like, you know what I mean? It allows you to have a bigger audience. Xbox isn't thinking of that. They're thinking, how do we make the most money? You ain't gonna make no money if no one makes a game for your console. And it sucks, but it's true.
I think we've had enough depressing this time. There's 1 minute left of this Zoom recording facility thing. Do you have anything else to say? Do you have anything else more positive to say for 1 minute?
It's not more positive, I ain't gonna lie to you. But I am gonna say this one thing. The new Assassin's Creed got released. Well, not released, got announced. And it is based in Japan. It is Assassin's Creed Shadows. And I want to say one thing and one thing only. Everyone complaining about the character choices in which you have in that game, which are a samurai and a ninja. You have a female Japanese ninja, and you have a historical figure, Yusuke, who is a black samurai. He is historical. He existed. Why you're upset that he's in the game, I'm not going to say, because I don't want to get David in trouble. What I am going to say is, obviously, I know, and you know, that you don't actually care about historical accuracy because you're playing a test.
A few moments later.
So, you were going on about the words that you didn't want to use about people being maybe racist?
A little bit, yeah. Shit, I'll just go off from there. You work your editing magic. But let me get back to what I was saying. You cannot complain about historical accuracy or the nationality and or like anything to do with accuracy in a Assassin's Creed game. You had who was it? You had an Italian in I think it was Assassin's Creed 3? Was it Assassin's Creed 3 when they went to Turkey? You, you had an Italian main character.
Yeah, three was when they were in America, weren't they?
Yes, 3 was in America. 3 was in America in which they made George Washington a mage. The man had the golden apple and he was turning himself into a king. Granted, that was DLC.
Yeah, but
really?
was he still white?
Yeah, of course he was still white. But this is my whole point. Yusuke is still a real person. He's still a real person. The only part of his history we do not know is what happened to him after Oda Nobunaga died. Because he was his samurai. And I swear to God, if a person says he was his retainer, you could be a retainer and a samurai, motherfucker. I swear to Christ. It was a time period in which you could not carry a sword without being a samurai. If you were carrying a sword of a certain length without being a samurai, crime. Hence, he was a samurai. It can't be more plain than that. It can't. And it's the weirdest thing too, because Japanese studios have no issue putting him in games, right? They have no issue putting him in games as a samurai or as like whenever they put in Oda Nobunaga, he's always there. Like they have no issues doing that. But for some reason, in the West, a certain type of person, I'm trying to be very democratic here. I'm gonna stop being very democratic, but I'm gonna keep trying. A certain type of person has an issue whenever they see him. Because they're like, well, black people weren't in Japan. Yes, they were. They really were. So I don't understand. I don't understand how you can say this shit. Because it feels like you either have no idea what you're speaking about, or you're just being racist. That's it. Because what you're saying has no basis in history and has no basis in Japanese history or the history of the region as a whole. So it just feels fucking stupid. It feels so fucking dumb. Because the one thing I keep seeing is people keep equating this to like diversity and inclusion. The DEI thing that everyone's pissed off about for some fucking reason.
It's not about all that woke stuff, is it?
Oh my god, yeah, that. They're like, oh, it's all woke. I'm like, motherfucker. These are video games. Video games have always been woke. I hate to break this to whoever has never heard this before. Maybe you weren't paying attention. Media literacy is hard for some people. You can't read. That's okay. I understand.
I mean, I don't know if you've seen it or
Released.
not.
Woke in some way.
Have you seen the new Doctor Who?
Yeah.
I've watched the first episode of the new season, and I only knew about it. It was out because there was a load of stuff online about how they've destroyed the franchise. It's no longer Doctor Who, all this, that, the other. And I watched it, and it's like, it seems a likable lead character. He seems a nice guy. He seems like the Doctor, overconfident, like stupid, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then it turns out that it's because a shape-shifting alien can't be black or gay. And
this is what
I was like, what the fuck are you on about? It's an alien. It can be whatever the hell they want.
These people watch these shows and they don't understand. Like they watch them, but they don't. Again, I chalk this up to media literacy, or they're just stupid. One of the two. But they watch these shows and they don't realize what they're watching. It's like when people are like, "Oh, Star Wars has never been woke." Are you crazy? Are you genuinely crazy? Are we watching the same thing? Or like fucking Star Trek has never been woke. Are you out of your damn mind? The craziness that comes out of these people's mouths, I genuinely think they're the personification of a fake fan. You know how when like someone says they like anime or they like video games and they get like 101 questions about like, oh, what's your favorite? What have you seen this anime from the 70s? Like all this shit. They get all those questions because people want to gatekeep shit. These are the motherfuckers you're supposed to be keeping out. These motherfuckers. The ones that like watch the thing, but they know nothing about it. Like it literally, I swear to God, it's like they're just watching it for the pretty colors and the sounds. Like, you know when you put a baby in front of a TV and they don't understand what's going on, but they just like how things move? It's that. That's what's happening. It's
like,
iPad time.
I can understand if the people were saying that the script, the direction, the story of the new Doctor Who was absolutely crap and didn't make sense. I agree with that. But they don't mention any of that. They're just going about the black gay actor.
Because this is the thing. I'm not a Doctor Who fan. I will say that right now. I am not a Doctor Who fan in any way, shape, or form. I kind of like seeing little clips of it because it's kind of a cool show. I just can never be bothered to like watch it. I can't be fucked. I will say this though. One thing I know about Doctor Who is the man's ridiculous. Nothing he does makes sense. His time travel is called timey-wimey shit. He uses a sonic screwdriver that can do many things that a screwdriver shouldn't be able to do. And I don't even think it's sonic. I just think he calls it a sonic screwdriver. He travels time and space in a fucking police box. Stop trying to make sense out of nonsense. You're doing yourself a disservice. It makes so very little. This man fights concepts. He doesn't even fight like evil people. He fights concepts of reality at this point. What are you upset about? Stop trying so hard to be upset. Just say you hate your life and get over it. That's it.
I honestly think what's happened is a lot of people since COVID have been inside on Facebook, and with the Facebook algorithms, when you're given certain news stories which aren't news, but you're given certain stories, if you click on them and read through them, you will get given more stories of the same style. So someone's probably saw something. It's like the headline was, "Oh, have you heard Star Trek's going woke?" So someone's like, "Oh, Star Trek, I like that." They'll click on it, and it's a completely fluff piece about how they're giving too many black actors roles in an alien race, which can be whatever the hell they want. They're not even like English or like from Earth. But then they also then start getting more news and more feeds of other things. And before you know it, they have been bombarded after news item after news item after news item. So in their head, they just think, oh my God, this woke thing must be real because everything that I'm reading is all about this bloody woke.
This is my whole problem. This is my whole problem. And like this is me going on to a greater issue. But basically, with this game, the thing I am noticing is there is a lot of racism within the nerd community, right? And I'm gonna say nerd. When I say nerd, that encompasses a lot of shit. I mean it. I want people to listen to me. I want people to take in what I'm saying. Because I'm not trying to like fluff it. And David, you might get in trouble for this because I ain't on here a lot. You're gonna have to deal with the backlash. But I want to say this right now. The nerd community is racist as fuck. The nerd community is racist as fuck. And I say this because I grew up in the nerd community. I grew up as a little black kid in the nerd community. And I will say this now. You don't want us there. You act like we're all welcome. You will act like you want us there. You don't. You want us to be a performative piece. So people don't call you racist. So people don't call you anything else. But you don't actually want us in your spaces. And then when we make spaces for ourselves, when we say, well, this is a space purely for minority people or black people or Asian people or whatever, you get hurt. You're like, well, why is it just for you? Why can't I be in here? Because the last time we were in a space with you, you made us feel not welcome. Why would I let you in? You're not going to let someone into your house after they fucked up your house. That don't make sense. I say this wholeheartedly and I say it with all of my chest. Nerds either have to fix the racism problem in their fandoms and in their communities, or don't be surprised when black people don't fuck with you like that. When we don't talk to you like that, when we have our own little shit within your fandom that you don't know about, don't be upset. And that's not just black people, that's everybody. That's every other minority. Because I can tell you now, every single minority has a little group just for them within a fandom because they don't feel welcome or safe within that fandom. So nerds, either figure your shit out or don't be surprised when you get excluded or you get made fun of or people think that you are racist. Because as much as it is easy to say, oh well, it's not all of us, it's some of us. It's enough of you not doing it. It's the ones that don't do anything about it. I don't expect there to be no racists. I expect there to be more nerds doing something about it. Because you're more than willing to not have any minorities or black characters in your games or in your media because, well, that's just how Japan does it. Or that's just how that's just how this series has been done. But when a black character does enter that media or that book or that game or that series that you love, we don't see you defending it. All we see are the people bringing down either that character, that creator, or that person. Now, don't even get me started on like cosplay and shit. There's a whole reason I don't go to conventions anymore. I don't go to conventions anymore because fuck that space completely. Fuck that space completely. Cosplay, fuck it completely. Never in my life. Conventions, fuck them completely. Never in my life.
I was just freaked out with how sexualized the cosplay sort of stuff was.
Mm.
You know, it's like you have to be a young woman with tits and you have to be wearing next to nothing. And I was just like, that's a bit creepy.
You know what it is? My issue with cosplay is this, right? You have white people cosplaying Asian characters. And their excuse is, well, they look white.
Yeah.
And then you have black people cosplaying the same characters. And they'll be like, no, but you can't do that because the character isn't black. Motherfucker, the character doesn't exist. He's real. If a white person wants to, and the thing that always comes up is, oh, what if we cosplay Black Panther? Please go ahead. Go ahead. Do it. Do it.
I'll do it. We'll book some sort of convention somewhere, and I'll cosplay as Black Panther.
Like fucking go. Like this is the thing. It's cosplay. Be respectful. Do it. You're fine.
So would you say getting a bit of the shoe polish on the face that's going a bit too far?
Absolutely. Yeah. No. Yeah. No. Yeah. But this is what I'm saying, right? It's really easy because this is the thing. The thing that I always hear is, well, if we were to do this to black media or black characters, you would get upset, or to minority characters or whatever. And I'm saying, if you're respectful about it, we don't care. Genuinely, we don't give a fuck. Be respectful. I don't give a fuck what you do. But that's not what happens. You do it as a caricature or as a joke or as something to be made fun of. You do not do it in a way that is appreciative or taking inspiration from, because that's not what you do. Because you want to be antagonistic. You want to piss people off. That's the main difference. That's why
I want to do that. I want to just piss everyone off.
But this is what I'm saying. Like, that's the main difference, right? So then when these things come up, when these issues come up, why people are confused about why minorities and other like oppressed groups are so pissed off. It's because we just want to have fun in the space. And a lot of people don't want us there. So we make spaces for ourselves. You can get angry about that, but it doesn't change the fact that we're still here. Now, you can complain. Sure, go ahead, do your thing. I'm not going to give a fuck. Because purely and simply, this game is going to come out.
Maybe.
Assassin's Creed Shadow will come out.
Maybe.
It will have it's Ubisoft, so you never know. But it will have a black character in it. Now, you don't have to like that, but there's fuck all you can do about it.
Yeah.
I ain't telling you to play the game. You don't want to play it, don't play it, that's fine. But I will say this. If your only critique of a piece of media is the look of someone, then you're not paying attention to that piece of media enough. You don't have the media literacy to appreciate it, or you're too stupid to understand the deeper themes of the media you're watching. Or
I
another
do
point,
think a lot of the time it is people just too, I wouldn't even say too stupid. They're just so gullible in what they read and what they hear. But yes, I think we'll end it there. We've had a good 20-minute rant.
Yeah.
So
that brought back memories of the old times right there. That brought back memories of the old days.
what, 3 hours of just talking about shit?
Oh yeah. I had an hour run, and then everyone else had like a 2-hour run, and it was perfect.
So I will just sort of say thank you so much for coming back on. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. Was the last time episode, was it 300?
Yep.
Or 350 maybe? It might have been 350.
I think so. It was the last big one. We need to, well, like, I'm always gonna be around. So if you ever want me to, like,
I
jump
don't.
on,
It's nice to have someone to bounce off and to talk shit to.
I mean,
So
I'm always
yeah,
around, and like, if you need more
I'll
run,
keep you. The messages there. I'll keep messaging you, see what's happening.
yeah.
So, do you have anything to plug? Do you do any other shows? Do you do any YouTube videos? Anything?
I don't have anything to plug. I only have one thing to say, and it will be my last thing to say, other than an outro. Uh, Concentrate on enjoying games. The gaming industry right now is in free fall. We need to be enjoying these games while we have them, because I can guarantee you, in 10 years, the industry is gonna look hella different. It's not gonna look the same. It's not gonna play the same. So enjoy this small little silver age that we're in, because soon we're gonna be in a dark age, and it's gonna be a bitch.
I think it's going to be interesting to see where we are in 5 years.
It's either gonna be very interesting or incredibly depressing.
Even if it's depressing, it's still interesting to see how we get there.
Fair enough.
So
But that is my last word on the subject.
it's your last word, is it? So
Yeah.
One Up Gaming, episode 400. Please buy our books. We've got 3 books out now. There is the unofficial Sega Saturn collection, the unofficial Nintendo 64 collection, and the unofficial PlayStation collection. All books are available from Amazon. So go on there and just search and buy. So thank you so much, Eddie. It's been a delight. And I guess
It's been
we'll
really
see
good.
each other again.
Yes, we will.
All right, then. I'll see you, and Thank you so much for coming on.
All right, see ya.
See you, man.